Here we go.
What's up, man?
Gabe, what's going on, my
How you
brother?
doing?
All
Nice to
right.
meet you.
Hey, let's talk.
So what's up?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Hometown Musician Spotlight. We're coming to you from this little secret spot in Calumet City. Only a few people know about it, but there's a lot of great music coming out of here. And my guest is Gabriel Anthony, and he is the owner of this place here.
I don't own it. I just been here for a long time.
Yeah.
This has been a hideout for this area's musicians since the early 80s, to be honest. And a lot of musicians, bands, Sergeant Rocks, Tyrant Rain, a lot of bands like that have come out of here.
So where were you born? Where'd you grow up? What schools did you go to, Gabe?
I was born in South Chicago, actually. Raised in South Deering. I moved out of South Deering into Hegwish when I was about 17 years old. But for me, drums and music has always been something that's always been in my life.
When was the first time you picked up some drumsticks?
Oh, drumsticks. To be honest, probably not drumsticks, but wooden spoons on pots and pans, stuff like that, you know. It wasn't until I started tearing apart my parents' couch. You know, remember, they used to have the plastic covers on the couches back in those days, and with some wooden spoons or even the cardboard from the hangers, you'd play drums, and I'd put on a Kiss record or something, just pretend I'm playing drums on that, and whap, 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 and have my cymbals and everything set up. And I just ripped the hell out of those plastic things. And my parents were like, we got to get this kid some drums. And so I did. I was able to get some drums when I was about 11 years old. And I had to take lessons in order to get them. And I had to prove to my father that I can play a Barry White song to get the drums. So I remember that being pretty vivid. The 16th notes on the hi-hat, stuff like that. So that was early stuff for me. Motown, WLS, Super CFL, pop radio when it was really cool, rock. That kind of stuff was really embedded in my brain. Chicago, Sly and the Family Stone, stuff like that. So that early music was embedded in me before heavy metal and the heavier stuff. That didn't come until maybe late teens, early 20s. But before, it was all of that stuff that everybody enjoyed in the 70s and stuff. I didn't like disco too much, but there was some stuff that I did. And I'll admit, one of the songs that I had to play was Dancing Queen on the hi-hat, because it was a hi-hat song, and that was a challenge for me to really learn how to play hi-hat stuff. So when I heard that, it's I got to learn how to play that, and that's kind of how I progressed as playing drums and different kinds of music, and then all of a sudden Rush comes into play,
with Neil Peart. Now it's a whole different perspective. Yeah,
for sure.
Who were some of your earliest collaborators? Were there anybody in the neighborhood at that young age that were also picking up instruments? And you got
hell yeah, dude! Everybody remembers Roman Castaneda, right?
Oh yeah,
So I remember him. My cousin played drums. I had a couple of neighborhood kids did too. I mean, they had drums, but they weren't really into it. I was always into it, and I knew that this was something that I was into.
Yeah.
And my parents thought it was a fad. I would give it up. But for me, it was just a direction in life that went like that. And I was able to find some really cool ways to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
Basically. That's how I got out of trouble. Kept me away from a lot of the bad stuff that was going around in that time. And drugs and everything like that too. Of course, I partied, but I was raised on a street of bars, and I used to see, people getting trashed, and as little kids, we were deviants and make fun, and they'd pass out, and we would take their money, and so I don't want to be like that guy. You know what I mean? So that was embedded in your head before you're even 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I knew that that was not a path I wanted to go. So music was really a way to get away from that crowd of people. And I do remember, hey, come on, let's go. We're going to go to Trumbull Park and play some baseball. And I knew Saturday afternoon, summertime, Trumbull Park, a bunch of these guys, I want to learn how to play this new song that I really like, you know what I mean? And I was lucky enough to have the bedroom in the back to where parents could stick me in the back and I can play the drums, as long as, their mom's going to the grocery store and going to go play the drums for a couple hours, So that's how it was for me.
At 17, you moved out of South Daring, you said?
Yeah, I was 17, moved into Hegewisch. And for me, that's when rock and metal started to really take a play. The demographics changed for me there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm going to Washington.
My alma mater also.
So, yeah, from Mount Carmel to Washington. So I started getting into those kind of bands that everybody else was getting into, which I really dug as a drummer because they're really highlighting the drummer. Judas Priest and Deep Purple and, all those bands like that were coming in from Great Britain at the time were just blowing my mind. And I got into all the heavy metal bands, and I kind of shied away from all the funky bands and stuff like that. But they did come back later on in life again.
Well, do you remember some of the first heavy metal recordings, albums, 45s, anything like that? That kind of
the very first heavy metal records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some friends who used to go downtown all the time to Rolling Stone Records and all these different record stores out there, Wax Tracks and stuff, and they would pick up these imports and bring them back, and that's how I learned of Motorhead and Metallica and Iron Maiden and we're talking, 1980, man, so I'm just like, wow, this stuff is like blows away Deep Purple and all this other stuff like that. And, so this wave of British metal and underground thrash metal was starting to come into play too. So, that really turned me on as a drummer, so I wanted to be that.
When did you kind of get your first, not your break, but when was the first time you guys really had a solid band put together?
First band, really?
Yeah.
My first band, I was 16, 17 years old, still junior in high school. Yeah. And I was with a band of older dudes. They were older, already going to bars. They were 22, 23, had long hair and stuff already. And I'm still like, short haired, fucking right out of high school. Yeah. And, they wanted me to do gigs. We started, they were called Deadlock. Yeah. So if you remember Deadlock, it was all original. A lot of people compared us to like a Motorhead at that time. You know? So we were, raw and aggressive and, double bass flying and just fucking kicking ass, doing talent shows, stuff like that, and VFW parties, keg parties. We went to a recording studio and that was my first recording experience at 17. Yeah. And we recorded some songs that geez, I listen to them now. I'm like, holy shit, man. I was so fast. An unbridled, drummer, basically. Yeah. So, Deadlock was the first band that started doing stuff, and they were sneaking me into gigs. All the gigs like at Luigi's and Haymakers and Just Angels and Froggies and all the clubs that used to be around in them days, And I'd go back to school in Washington. What'd you do over the weekend? And you'd be like, well, played a gig at a place called Froggies, and this chick showed me her pierced nipples, and that was my senior year in high school, which I kind of grew up fast. Yeah, gotcha. I grew up fast because I was hanging out with older dudes and I was around the older crowd. Yeah. But at that time, I did know that I don't want to be like them guys because back in the day, I used to see the guys and I grew up like that. And I knew this is, I had an uncle who owned a bar and I seen how it is. And it helped me out a lot. So I knew it's fun. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. But don't fall into that shit. Yeah. That's what kind of kept me on that keep your shit together attitude. I wanted to be like a Neil Peart. Yes. You know what I mean? We're going to skip
ahead, maybe quite a bit to the present day. Actually, I don't want to skip. We'll come back to some of your other prior things, but what's really exciting is the new project with Ronnie Munroe,
Yeah.
like the singer from Metal Church, and some
Yeah.
TSO experience behind him. Tell us about this exciting new band and this project that's going on right now.
Well, it started back in August with a phone call from a friend, and he's like, "Hey, Ronnie Munroe's looking for some musicians in the Midwest area to put a band together, and he wants to be able to come out and do some gigs with it, and possibly have you come out there to the East Coast and do shows there, if it's you're able to." So at first, I really wasn't really at the time wanting to commit to something like that, because I knew that it would take a lot of commitment, to be honest with you, and learning a lot of songs and the practicing and getting together with the band, and you got to put together the band, and it's going to take some time. So when I first started getting the music, and I'm listening to the music, and I was just like, holy shit, this guy can sing. And I liked a lot of the style of the music that was being played, so I started saying, I wonder if I could pull this off, So I started seeing it as a challenge at first, I'm going to see if I can fucking do this stuff. So I started messing around with it, and it just came so natural, like, this is what you should be doing, man. You got to be playing this stuff, not the other. I still like playing all the other music, but this is my style of music, know. And so I started getting into it, and then I call, Joe back, and I say, send me some more stuff. I'm kind of digging this,
Yeah.
And it kind of began there, and then we started to hunt for the other musicians, and that's a hard process too, because you got to find the right guys who can really, they can pull it off and have the availability. And a lot of the guys I know play in multiple bands. A lot of good musicians playing a lot of bands, so it's hard to get these guys out. And, especially for an original project, a lot of them playing cover bands, and a lot of them make money that way. I used to be in that groove too for 15 years.
Yes.
Kept me in that groove. That's a good way to make some money, but you lose your originality and your creativity from doing that too. So that's what kind of made me think about, what am I doing with myself here? I can play, and I'm playing for money, and that's cool. I'm making money, but I'm not really playing what I want to play, and I'm starting to lose my chops. And I wanted to get back to that.
Yeah.
And I knew that the metal music is what really did it. So now it's a basic thing of, can I pull this off at my, I'm not 25, 30 years old no more. And it did come naturally. It's not like I've been standing still for the last so many years. My last project that I was working with was less than 3 years old, and that was with Witch Slayer. And I recorded the last the Witch Slayer release that they did in 2022 and 23. And they took me out to Germany with them. So I was able to go and do some gig out there, which was fucking very cool. I didn't think I was going to do that either, but it just fell into place, and everything rolled into place. And thankfully, working with the tracks is what helps, because it's hard to get people in a room now. So you got to work with the tracks.
Yes.
And that means you got to work with clicks. And that's a challenge today. Every drummer today, really, it's an essential tool for them to know how to work with these tracks and click tracks, because being in a digital world today, everything works off of that. Live video screening, recording in the studio, wave transferring, file transferring, that all works with click tracks and stuff like that. So, and plus it disciplines a drummer and any musician. So I learned that later on in my drumming career, unfortunately, because being from a rock band, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just give it a go. But once you're in a click track world, everything becomes more in a grid, okay? And a lot of drummers mistake that. Playing with a click will make you sound like a machine. Well, the trick about it is that the click is used as a guide, and you're going to play a little bit in front, a little bit in front. It's used as a guide, not as a crutch. So, you get really good with that, and you're able to use that and every movement is a fraction of that click. You see, every movement is a fraction of that click. You get really good with that, and it disciplines you. And other musicians start to take note of that. And then all of a sudden, hey, let's get that guy, because he's more on solid, and we could depend on him, and to come in the studio and just do this in an hour or so, and that helps you out as a drummer immensely. So don't shy away from click tracks, drummers. But that's really helped me out in my drumming career. Having to learn how to work with a computer and do that stuff is what helped me keep playing and doing stuff for as long as I've been doing.
I've seen one musician with the electronic drums, and since I'm not a musician, I don't know it. Is there a place for music, with the electronic stuff, or is it cheating? If you don't mind me.
In today's world, a lot of people are starting to use it as a cheating tool, but it's a tough balance, because it's a helpful tool, but it also could be a cheating tool, and it depends on the creator how they're going to use that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, in today's world with social media and all that stuff like that, it's easily passed on as, hey, this is some real shit, when it's not. And definitely, just like they predicted, it's going to hurt. But you'll be able to tell and see the difference of the reality and the artificial. I think people are getting really wise to notice, hey, man, that sounds too perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because humans are not that perfect. I personally don't like a lot of producers today take your drum tracks, and what I call mask it is that they'll take a virtual drum track and then basically take your drum sound and then mask that with a better sounding sound, and then dump that on top of how you sound. And it's really not how you sound. It's how you play, but it's not how you sound. I call it if you remember the Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah.
The Johnny Bravo effect. That's what I call it. So that's what I always call it. But no shit. Drummers takes, not every drummer, but a lot of drummers do take the time on how they sound. So when you go in the studio and you record the drums, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we don't like the way it sounds, we're going to put stuff on there like this and use a different sound. Yeah, it's okay. In some situations I get it, and I realize why they do it for quality, sound quality. But it does take away a little bit of the personality. And that kind of sucks. It's almost like, here, guitar player, play this guitar instead, and they wouldn't like that either. So, no, but it's pretty cool. That's what I always was into, is drums and all about that. So it was an evolving situation for me.
Is there a brotherhood of drummers out there? Do drummers resonate to other drummers, like when you're not playing, and or is there a little bit of envy, that type thing? Like I hear with other musicians, Gart's guitar player doesn't want to admit, hey, this guy's good. Is there?
I think it's all of the above.
Yeah.
Personally, There's some guys out there who are really, open and cool, and I do appreciate other drummers who are good. I really do. I'll sit and watch them. I mean, I'm not going to be like, hey, but I'll be like, oh man, that guy's good, and I might even take a little bit of his licks.
Yeah.
So, but that's what drummers do.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years, and they do it their own way. So yeah, there's a lot of drummers who secretly like each other and hate each other.
Yeah.
But not like how it used to be back in the day. And that's funny that you mentioned that, because I had thought about having what I would call a drummer's night out.
Yeah.
And so where it's a show, not a gig, but it's basically, a drum orchestration situation. We got a couple drum sets set up and a percussionist, and then, you're kind of playing off of each other, doing some cool stuff. I'm going to help you make that happen one day. Maybe incorporate some video behind it, working off of click tracks and really cool stuff like that. And you got to get another drummer. So that's an idea I've been floating around and thinking about, hey, maybe I might do something like that. And, but, you always have these ideas of what you want to do, and then other projects come into play, and then that takes a sidestep, and you're into this. So that's one of the ideas.
Yeah. some of your other creativity? Are you writing songs, and as far as producing stuff, or what are some of your other talents, if you don't mind
No, definitely. I do write a lot of songs. I play other instruments. I play guitar. My second instrument is a bass guitar. That started early for me with like the Police and Yes and stuff like that. So I really had a bass ever since I was a teenager, and I always kind of played that and secretly fucking got really good at it. so I can create my own songs. And so I started writing, and I got to the point where 20 years ago started getting into recording yourself, and then with the Tascam, with the cassette, and then graduate to the digital, and then now everybody's doing stuff on a computer. So I've always was interested in it, and I do that, and I have recorded songs, and up to this date I probably got about maybe 25 songs, and I put some of my demos on YouTube. So I wanted to see what kind of reaction I would get on YouTube with some of my originals. No, these songs are recorded, all the parts I did myself. The vocals, the bass, the guitar, the drums, the writing.
Wow, very cool.
So when it comes into the recording, I record everything at home on my units and devices and things. And then when it's something really ready to go, I'll take it to the studio and then I'll record it, like that. Basically recording off of my tracks, and then re-recording everything over again, but in a digital format in a more professional scenario. So right now I probably got in that studio recording stuff, I got about 15 songs like that are still being worked on, because another, whenever you got your own stuff, that takes a side step to other projects that start coming in. Because it's always something that's like, I got to finish this, but I got to work on this now, and then so you start working on that. And, but I do write and I do play, and you can check out some of my stuff on YouTube.
Yes.
It's called Gag Order 13, which is a play on my initials, and and a play at the first 13 songs that I've actually recorded and said, well, these are 13 songs I wrote, and some of those 13 songs I posted on YouTube for people to check out for free. Yeah,
pretty cool. Well, while you're doing this project, does that leave you time to intermingle with other musicians that might be having gigs locally here, or is it just strictly focusing on the new stuff?
It comes in waves, I guess. Sometimes I'm sitting around with nothing much going on, just working on the tracks for a project. And then there's other times when I'm, working on tracks for a project, and I got a gig, we're filling in for a band or something like that. So I'll fill in for a band here and there. Once in a while I will. Not too often, but I will.
Yeah. So I always ask a couple real fun questions at the end of the interview. The first question is, if you could trade places with any other musician in the world, dead or alive, past or present, for a whole weekend, you could actually be that person or nudge somebody else out of a band and sit in with them. Who would that be?
I call that Nancy Kerrigan. Let me see. Probably, I'd love to jam with King Diamond.
Cool.
I would love to jam with King Diamond, like overseas, like a Wacken Festival or something like that. That would be a cool experience.
Is that Germany or something? Or?
In Wacken, I believe so. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that leads me to my next thing. If there was an ultimate venue, an ultimate room, a spot, whether that spot still exists or not, what would be your pinnacle room or venue to actually play in?
A cool room to play in.
Yeah. What would be your pinnacle?
The best one, and locally or
no, anywhere.
Shit, I don't even know.
I mean, even if you said the Cavern Club, which what I mean.
Oh, you know what? What's that place? Red Rock, I think they call it.
Yeah, Red Rock. That's the most popular answer I get.
Yeah,
Red Rock.
Yeah, because man, that would be so cool. Just to be there would be cool.
Yeah.
That whole area to me is a very. There's a little thing very in tune and in touch with the Southwest.
Yeah.
for some reason.
Mm-hmm. How long did you spend out there, out west? Well, you were out there.
Yeah, my family's
years.
all out there now,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
and I would go out there and sometimes try to get out of here for the whole winter.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest with you, I'd get
Yeah.
out of here in November,
Yeah.
around November or so, and then not come back till April. But you know, it's things ever since COVID that kind of I got all screwed out,
Yeah.
you know, and now it's harder to do and more expensive to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been spending more time out here, and projects have been keeping me out here too.
Yeah. Well, it's been just a pleasure talking to you. Once again, tell us about the new project and the name of the new band.
The Ronnie Munroe project is called Beyond the Wrath, and it's going to be coming out. We're going to be starting to do some gigs this spring and summer, so keep an eye out for that. I'll be posting some of that. Check out Beyond the Wrath with Ronnie Munroe. It's some pretty cool stuff. Queensryche-ish music along Dio, touch of thrash. So it's got a little bit of that whole what metalheads like, and powerful vocals. The music's killer, and live we're gonna make that sound 10 times killer. So
can't wait,
especially with the lineup we got.
Yeah, well, we need some new fresh stuff, definitely. So really looking forward.
I think so too, man.
Heck yeah,
I do.
Gabe, I can't thank you enough for the hospitality. It's been a blast. And this is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Hometown Musician Spotlight. And until next time, peace, everybody.
Peace.
26